Welcome back to the Teacher's AI Cafe. I'm Kane, a teacher and a parent who wants AI to give us back our time. I share practical classroom-tested AI strategies to cut down your workload, improve your feedback and reduce stress so you can get your evenings back and be more present with your friends and family. No jargon, just actionable steps. Grab your mug. Now let's get going. Welcome back to the Teacher's AI Cafe. So I'm doing, again, two versions of this. I'm going to record this. It's going to go up on YouTube as well as for my podcast. Now, today we're solving a problem that really annoys me. It's the inability to find a website that does exactly what I want to do. Now, there's been a significant change in the last update for ChatGPT, and they've added a new feature which will completely change that. And I'm happy to say that I'm going to run through with you today. So what I'm talking about is when you want to have a website to actually complete a task and you can't find that perfect website, because what happens when you get out on the website, it's missing some content. You got to send them more than one, has stuff on there or content on there that you don't really want your students to address at this time. So it takes a bit more managing. Now imagine you can build your own website. ChatGPT allows us to do that. Before I get started, this is also only available for the paid version at the moment. And the second point is we don't know how many websites we can actually build that they'll host, and I'll go through that in a minute. But let's get into it and see what it does. So this is really easy to access. It's a matter of going to any sort of chat, opening it up, and you type in the @ symbol and type in sites. And when you do that, if you're at home, you'll see the @ and sites. You can use the capital S. And below that, and this is, you see sites, build and deploy websites. So you select that and it becomes active. Now, before I go too much further, I'm actually using this on the desktop app. Now, the desktop app has changed and does a lot more than what the web version does now. Whereas previously the desktop app was quite limited. With the changes OpenAI have been doing it, you're better off using the desktop app for everything. Now, what sort of website can we build? Basically anything you want. And we're going to go through a couple of really simple examples to start with. And we're going to go add sites, and I'm just going to type in create website, and I'll pick a history one because I know that content. Website on the Munich Putsch, because I've been doing that at the moment, the Putsch, and it's an outcome. So I'm not going to put a lot of detail in there. I'm going to let AI go away and do it, and I'll talk about different ways that you can actually do this as well. So I've typed in there, it says that sites create a website on the Munich Putsch and its outcome. And it's now processing and going away to do that. So I'm going to stop it here. I'll let you know how long it actually takes to build the site. It is fairly quick, but at the same time, we don't want to continue. Okay, it's actually come back with a message before, I think. It wants us to continue in work. So now we've got chat now, and we've got work within the app. So I'm going to go to continue with work, and it will transfer the information over there. It's now come back with a summary of what it's actually going to do within work, and I'll read this out for people at home. Bear with me if you're watching on YouTube because you can see it. Create an interactive education website on the Munich Putsch from 8th to 9th of November 2023. Its outcome, target Year 10 secondary history students. Now, where's it getting that information from? AI, like Claude, is very smart. It remembers what you've been working on. In this case, I've been working a lot of Year 10 resources, so it's by default, grab that background information. You can correct it when you actually do that. With a clear, accessible language, historically accurate content, include background causes, key people such as Hitler, Ludendorff, Gustav, and so Bavarian authorities chronologically worked through the Beer Hall Putsch, confrontation, the failure, Hitler's arrest and his trial, imprisonment, the writing of Mein Kampf, the political consequences for the Nazi Party, and so on. And it goes all the way through. Add an interactive timeline, key person cards, a cause and consequence activity, primary source analysis prompts, and 10 questions check for understanding with immediate feedback. Using visual engaging Weimar Germany style, but keep readability suitable for classroom use. Include a short teacher section with suggested discussions and a learning goal. Now, what I said, it's pulled out a lot of the different elements which I normally put within my paper-based resources, and it's incorporated in there. So I'm going to just cut it here for a minute and we'll pop back as soon as it's done. We're back. So that took 8 minutes and 30 seconds to do. What it's done is actually, for people listening on their podcast, it's just giving me a little summary. Your interactive Year 10 Munich Putsch website is available. It gives me a link there. I can open it. It gives me a summary of what's actually been put on there. It also says under there, the Munich Putsch 923, and I got a share button here. So it's important when we come in and share, when we first do it, it actually says only I have access to it. So if I click on the link to actually open it up, it will then require me to log in with my ChatGPT details. So it's secured away there. But obviously, we want our students to access it there. So I'm going to change it to anyone on the internet. I'm still the owner. And I can click on visit and it will actually go open up the website there. Now, when we actually look at the website, the styling, it's okay. I mean, I changed a lot. It's pretty much the sequential going through there. It's missing a lot of in-depth details. Normally when I do, I'd create a task sheet. The students are going to obviously copy certain information off there. So it's really summarized the information down for me, and you can change that. So it's got Munich, it's got the timetable there. It's got initials of the important people involved. It's got Putsch. It's got some details of the trial, very briefly. And we're talking maybe 15 words of information. And I think obviously I'd want more depth to that. There's a quiz down here. You can pick it and it will give you some questions whether you're right or wrong. So things like police should stop the march and attempted coups, or the march reaches Berlin and so on. There's a question of evidence. So there's a couple of embedded questions in there. The students will then need complete in their book. And there's 10 multiple choice questions and so on. So it's pretty basic going through there. But obviously, the point of AI is we can actually change and alter these for that. So you can pretty much customize whatever you want to do. To do that, we need to go back to AI. And I've actually started this going through and it's been finished. So I told her the content is slim. Can you add some primary source photos to each of the sections? Put a source analysis questions on the trial. I wrote trial instead of trial. Whoops. And include a 50-word extract of Hitler's speech at the trials. So there's obviously typos in there, people looking online, but like I said, AI doesn't worry about your spelling. Also, link to contemporary video footage around the time for students to view. And so what it's gone through, it's taken me 5 minutes and 16 seconds to do that. The expanded version is ready to publish. It's 6 source archival photographs for analysis prompts, 50-word extract from the speech, 5 trial source analysis questions. So put some more details in there. So I'm just going to hit share again. It's still available to anyone on the internet. And I'll click visit and I'll open up a new web page and we'll see what changes that go through. So this is the only iteration I'm actually going to do with this, but you'll get the idea coming through that. So how has it changed? I cannot see any change there whatsoever. Maybe this is the issue. Okay, let's try this again. Let's open this in Safari. There's actually no change whatsoever to the website. Okay. Let's tell us. As you say, I like to do these live. I looked at the website and there has been no changes. Check again. So I can tell check again. And like I said, AI isn't perfect. I wonder why it's... Yeah. Look, it tells me I'm right. Don't you find AI? I saw a really funny meme the other day saying, yeah, oh, you're right. They were telling you to do ridiculous things and then saying someone terrible happened. And they said, oh, you're right. We shouldn't have done that. Anyway, you're right. The public site shows the previous version. I had prepared the update but stopped before replacing the public version. I'm publishing the saved revision now and we'll check the live address. So it's going through. And why it's waiting to do that, because like I said, AI sometimes get confused in what it's supposed to do. The model I'm using, I don't think I've mentioned it, is 5.6, which is the latest model from ChatGPT, Sol Lite. So Sol is the one that gives us the most complex problems or tasks to do. And I'm doing Lite, so I don't use up as much of my tokens. I actually did hit my quota the other day. For people not watching online, what it's done on the right-hand side in the windows, it's actually giving me a preview, and it looks exactly the same. So I think we might be in a challenge. Open the tab, refresh. Let's see if we can open the website. Let's see if it's made any difference whatsoever. No, it has not. So it's failed us today at other times, but what I'll do, I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through this. It hasn't changed it again, but what we'll do Refresh to open browser. The new icon appears near the bottom. Follow the, okay, trial speech. Okay. So that isn't actually what I had in mind. So, and I didn't read the full prompt. So under my, for people at home, under my 10 questions, bring the room back to inquiry, it's actually go and read the part. It's done the photos there. And obviously it wasn't very clear. I actually want to embed it into the existing one. Anyway, I've got these photos in there. So I've gone away and found some photos which are all historically correct. We've got the banknotes being stacked from the hyperinflation. We've got the Putsch supporters. We've got the pictures of the trial, defendants posted together, and Hitler in prison. So there we've got these different resources. And it's got an extract there. So it's actually put them at the bottom. But it hasn't done the notes there, but cool. Well, what I'm actually going to do now, obviously I've made a few different websites. So if we actually come back to ChatGPT, the app, you'll see at the very top there's a new sites menu item. And I'll just open up a couple of the other ones there that I've actually made. So one's an escape room, and I'll go through how I made that in a minute. And the other one's a democracy under pressure. So this is one I'll do. I'm going to open it up. Let's go back. So we're going to visit the website now. So this is one I made for my class. It was a bit more successful. So this is Democracy Under Pressure, pretty much the same period, 1919 to 1923, people doing history. It actually embedded the task sheet in there. I told it to take it out. So I actually made a task sheet for me when I was making it, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. But like I said, it can do that for you as well. Gave me the vocab list, and then gave me a bit of a quiz there so the students understand keywords in the vocab. Prompts. There's the First Rising. But what I'll show a highlight here is it actually found 19 turbulent days. It actually went out and found archival links for me, and that's what I was trying to get. The other one trying to do live. So it actually went on to German history website and went and found this contemporary or video footage of the time, which is a newsreel going through. It's not very exciting, but the idea, in fact, that when I found that was pretty cool. Through the cat bush, and then obviously the rural. I spent a lot of time on this, and then if we go down the bottom, we've got another archival footage in here somewhere as well. So the cool thing is this, is the students could then go through and actually watch some of the footage that was primarily sourced. Here we go, surviving cat bush footage. So I click on that. It's the same website. Went through, and so the students, without me having to share it with the whole class, could hop on and actually look at this footage. It's pretty dark and grainy, obviously from the original. But the idea it could go find that, I thought it was actually pretty cool coming out of that. So that's one thing you can do for you. This site's much better. It took me about 2 or 3 iterations to get to the site that I wanted. I was a bit more specific on that one. So if we come back here, and the next one I did was actually make an escape room. Now, the way I did the escape room is I had an existing document. So this is my escape room. It's a paper-based version I normally do in class. Got my teacher's notes, got the answer key, and I've got the items they go through. I've got to cut it out, or they've all got to go cut it out. So it actually takes fairly time-consuming, both either me prepping and getting it ready, then making the different stations for that. Obviously, you can cut one and then laminate and reuse them year to year, and hopefully things don't disappear. Have my different stations in there. So what I did is I actually dropped that into chat and asked in our sites and asked it to make me an interactive escape room using that content. So I took existing resources, so I knew exactly what it was going to actually build, and then dropped it in there. So what we've got here is the escape room for the collapse of democracy. Make sure I get the right one. Not copy link. We'll go visit. The other thing it does is when you do the URL, it puts your name up there. I actually updated my name. If you look at here, it's got my Yugen Learning name, which is my educational business at the top. This side here had a different name because that's what I signed up with ChatGPT originally before I paid for it. So you get that. So this was pretty cool. So start at the beginning. I'll just reset the whole thing. Let's reset it. So it comes up, democracy's collapsed. Can you work out how to do that? So we can begin the investigation. It's got my 6 different basic points there. And the idea is that then becomes interactive. So I've got drop-down menus, sort in the order and so on. So I'll just do the first one. So this is treated as cyber war guilt, and it gives them a whole lot of different options. They get blamed for the war, reparations payments, fragile territorial losses, new borders, lost land and colonies, and military restrictions was army limits on troops. So the idea of doing this, and I've got this code 1919. The kids can't cheat because if they put a different 9 in there, there's like 2 limits 9s in there, they'll get it wrong. So the idea is they put 1919 in there. For people at home, it's a whole lot of drop-down menus, different questions, check code, and they pass it. So the idea is they can work through this, and this is I've designed as a revision activity for my students in history. Worked very well. Only one of my students could finish it. I also asked her to put hints in there for the stronger ones. The other thing he did going through, so we've got these hints if they get stuck, if they can't find it with their notes and things, is it actually went and found me these primary sources. So for people at home, on my podcast, there's like some posters that Hitler's, Our Last Hope Hitler, very common posters at the time. And they've got to identify basically who the audience is. Tick that gives them the code. So what we see these two different models is it's quite versatile. You can customize it to whatever you want. I could build this, put it on my content management system or learning management system, and the students can then just link it in and run with it straight away, which is really, really easy. As you see from this side here, I've been playing with the different ones. Most of these are actually demo sites. I've been presenting it to different staff, showing what you can do. For example, there's this physics one. I don't teach history, don't do physics. So I did that live demonstration last week because we had teachers from lots of different areas. And they said, yeah, this is for year 7 gravity. You did a pretty good job with quizzes in there. So I said, and that took about, 10 minutes to make when I was doing the presentation, just running in the background while I was doing that. So hopefully you find this useful. There's really no templates and things. You really just got to go and experiment with them. Once you build them, you can edit and change them or do different settings as well when you go into it. You can get analytics out of it. So for doing Munich Putsch, which I just made, there's no analytics. Let's go back actually. So let's go expect democracy. We've got share. You can obviously share it with different people. Edit it, analytics and settings. So if you go into analytics, it actually shows us, if you ever looked at YouTube analytics or anything like that, it shows usage. So I've had 20 unique visitors. There was 20 students in my class that day, 40 page views, because obviously I've probably used it since then. Unique visitors, page views, it gives me a bit of data. So the idea, if you're sharing this a lot or maybe make it available online, you get lots of different data from that. Just 7 and 30 days. So I think nothing in the last 7 days. Last 30 days, because it was back in August 9th, I actually made this website. Under settings, we can use the URL. You can change that. You can host them while they're hosted in ChatGPT. You can actually host them permanently if you have your own website, if you want to put it there. You got to use things like CNAME and other things. If you've got a web developer, or if you're confident in doing that, you can do it yourself. Or you can just say, ask ChatGPT, how do I do this? And it can give you instructions to do that. Change the name, domain, custom domain if you want to add one, which I mentioned that, and sharing details. So I think this is a big update, and I think it's very, very useful. I've seen lots of Claude, people doing intro HTML pages as well. The thing that's a little bit different than this one is it hosts it for you. So I've designed some standalone HTML files, built them in Claude for existing resources. I repurposed them so they'd be online. And that works really well, but it's a downloaded HTML file, so you may have issues around that, or allowing someone to download HTML file onto their student computer or a lab computer, depending on permissions and how much lockdown. Whereas this, you can just send them to a particular website. It's nice and safe there. Go in there. So I hope you found this really, really useful. For people listening to the podcast, essentially you can go look at the YouTube. I'll link it in the show notes down below, and you can watch or skim through what we're talking about. So until then, keep up the good work. Anyone wants to come on and talk about their AI experiences, now's the chance to do it. Drop me an email, drop me a message. Some people have messaged me through LinkedIn as well. So definitely, however way you can contact me or where you can find me, but there's always an email in the show notes you can get to me. Okay, till then, keep up the good work and look after yourself.